What's up, guys, and welcome back to Wake Entertainment. So we have a very serious problem here, and the problem that is there is mainly coming from the way Judge Ratha is handling the disputes that are occurring between the state and the defense. And the main issue that is there on the table is just simple English. This does not require one to learn law or stuff. It's just simple English here that is happening. Just listen to this.
Okay, but in this instance, like I'm saying, you have verified Colonel Mangena's findings and you have agreed with him. There's not a difference whereby now he needs to go to Fesser Felion and Tino, the other people that came. I don't know whether it was before you or after you, but he's told this court that 4 people verified his findings and amongst them it's you.
That's a good question. I don't think he said they verified. I think he said they agreed with him. I think there is a big difference between the two situations. They agreed with him, but he did the verification.
Are we playing linguistics now, my lord? Because I can't agree with something I didn't verify.
That's argument now. What is the real situation, Mr. Baloyi, according to you? He says, Mr. Baloyi said they agreed. They did not verify like the kernel here.
My lord, then let's pack it. My lord has made an order in terms of section 186. They'll speak for themselves.
So the key issue here is revolving around whether agreeing with the forensic finding is implying that one has personally verified it. So Ramosepele's argument here is contending that Sero's agreement with Mangena's findings means that Sero must have verified those findings first. So in Ramosepele's view, it is impossible to agree with the finding without first checking its validity. Now, a counterpoint from Baloyi is saying that Sero simply stated that he did not verify the findings, but merely agreed with them. So Baloyi is sort of implying that someone can agree with an expert's conclusion without having independently verifying the underlying evidence. So looking at Judge Ratha, the way that he sort of ruled between the disagreement between Baloyi and Ramosepele, Judge Ratha did not support Ramosepele's insistence that agreement requires verification. So to us, this suggests that in this Senzo Meyiwa trial, it is acceptable for an expert like Sereo to express concurrence with forensic findings without having personally verified them. So this is a challenge here because the core of the disagreement here is whether agreeing with forensic findings means that one is essentially endorsing them without question. So if Mangena's forensic findings, for example, are flawed and Sereo simply agrees with Mangena's findings without verifying them, that could lead to incorrect conclusions being accepted as the truth. This could potentially allow errors to pass unchecked, simply because Sereo is agreeing without verifying. Because we all know in forensic science, verification is very, very crucial because findings must be based on reliable and independently verified data. If Sereo merely agrees with Mangena's findings without independently verifying them, Sereo could be criticized for not ensuring the correctness of the conclusions. This is definitely going to be problematic. If Mangena's findings are somehow wrong, it would mean that Sereo is essentially putting a stamp of approval on something without necessary due diligence. So at the end of the day, this is going to put Sereo in a very, very difficult position because he will now be questioned to say, Mangena's findings are actually wrong. So how come you are agreeing with him? What are you doing as a forensic investigator by agreeing with Mangena? So here, who is right and who is wrong between Ramosepele, Baloyi, and Judge Ratha? From my view, Ramosepele's argument is more stronger because agreement without verification, it undermines the integrity of the process, especially in a high-stakes situation like a Senzo trial, where the accuracy of the forensic findings are very, very important. We can't have experts that are coming to court and simply saying, I agree with Mangena's findings. That is just unacceptable, because what we want in the court is experts that have done their own analysis that is completely independent from what Mangena did. And if they find out that what Mangena did is correct, then they can say, yes, I verify and agree with Mangena. But if it is not correct, then they should clearly state that no, Mangena is wrong here. Because the challenge that is there is that Sereo simply agreeing without verification, that could mean that Sereo is now complicit in endorsing incorrect findings. So you see where the problem is at now. So it's definitely critical for forensic experts to verify this evidence before agreeing to it, especially in a legal context like this. So the unfortunate part is that this is what we are dealing with, and the Judge Ratha is agreed with Advocate Baloyi and also the forensic expert Sereo, and there is nothing that Ramosepele can further do. Or maybe actually is something, he can take this to the Court of Appeal and point out all of these errors and unfair rulings from his point of view. So let's look at what happens at the Court of Appeal, because at the Court of Appeal, they have to be like based on a legal error. So Ramosepele would need to argue that Judge Ratha made a legal error in not accepting the argument that verification of forensic findings is essential before agreeing with them. So this could be framed as a failure to properly interpret the standards of forensic evidence and the role of experts in verifying such evidence. So the court of law now will be looking at whether the law was actually correctly applied. Like they could look at whether the judge wrongly allowed an expert's opinion without proper verification. But it will also depend on so many like circumstances. So another issue that we'll have to look at now is what are the chances of success for Ramosepele. The Court of Appeal will be looking at how significant this error was and how much did it influence the trial's outcome. If it was significant, then you would win. But if his argument, or if that error which was made by Judge Ratha wasn't that significant, then the appeal would be dismissed. But at least they would have done something. So tell me what you think in the comment section about Judge Ratha's view. I'll catch you guys on the next one.